in the opening part of play. There is James Rowe, the son of Stephen, who played 29 games for the Crows. Gets his opportunity finally after kicking 82 goals in 34 Sandfield games in the last couple of seasons. And for Port Adelaide, well, what's Lockie Jones and Jackson Mead and Miles Bergman, who haven't played a game yet, going to do today to maybe play round one? And the unveiling of Alir and Orazio Fantasia. They're two big recruits for Port Adelaide. So we're underway. Lysette and O'Brien go at it off the top. Matt Crouch, who missed the trial game last week with that groin issue, is back into the lineup this week, which is great news. Wines loads up long to full forward. Early rise, no mark, off hands, perfect crumb, and the roller rolls through. Zach Butters on fire early.
It's just about the worst possible start for the Adelaide Crows. You're coming off a thumping the week before. You want to have great improvement. You want to get yourself into the contest early. But it's been all Port Adelaide. Even though the Crows got that first clearance, enough pressure was put on to create the turnover. And gee, we sit in awe watching the three youngsters, don't we? Rosie, Dersma, and also Butters. They
couldn't get on the end of it. Motlop, who's been in really slick form in the trials. Bonner through the legs, and Robbie Gray sneaks one from the goal line. 2 in 90 seconds.
How much time do you reckon you expect to see Peter Laddams playing forward this year, Jace? They're going to go with the two big men down there.
He competes well. Yeah. He can do it. He can certainly compete well. And if you're getting enough ball down there, you've still got to get the right amount of defensive pressure. But I like the way he competes.
He actually shows a bit on the lead as well for a bigger guy. Obviously, Charlie Dixon down there, the main focal point.
Goes past Frampton, goes longer to O'Brien. Fogarty, what's he going to provide this year? Hands it off. Rowe on the run. As I mentioned, a known goal kicker, Jimmy Rowe. Schomburg tried to flick it back. Rosie looks around. They stand off him. Gives to Burn-Jones, a bullet to full forward. Gray lurking, big hipper shoulder on Gray by McPherson. Motlop slaps it out. And Orazio's got his first in a Port jumper.
Yeah, I reckon Andrew McPherson's unlucky there. Yeah. He had a terrific attack on the ball. He spoiled the ball. He followed it up, put a big bump on. And all that effort goes to waste because they're unable to clean up the loose ball. But
it's a great effort, though, wasn't it?
He had his eyes on the footy. Yeah. He turned side on. He did everything right. Just didn't have any teammates helping him out. That's after spoiling Motlop as well.
Yeah, textbook stuff, the way he came in there. Fortunately enough, Robbie Gray's okay. Lucky he didn't put his head down there. Would have been a bit of strife, but did nothing wrong there, McPherson.
Robbie Gray nearly the second grab, but he kept it alive. Butters. 3 Crows around it. Okay.
Not much Travis Pope could have done there, right? He was attacking the footy at the last minute, realises he's going to get poleaxed, so he protects himself. He's got his eyes on the footy all the way until the last moment.
Pre-season, Burton to send Port back inside attacking 50. Dixon. Gray. Butters. Drew. Needed a good bounce, got a bad one.
It's interesting that one of the Fantasia's kicking around the corner there on that sort of an angle. I always thought that was one of the easier kicks when you're right foot in.
Yeah, the 50 being called out, 50 seconds left. Hits his target, so they have gone into their 1 minute drill. Gray, aim on, open pocket. Smith back with the flight, can't stop Orazio. Let's see if he does better from this pocket.
Great transition by Port Adelaide there. I love it too. Robbie Gray plays on. And the players, that's one of the benefits of this new man of the mark rule. The players are encouraged to quickly move the ball on and play on. That's their initial reaction. Great to see.
And they're a good kicking side. They've got a lot of players with very good foot skills, Port. So the rule's going to suit them.
And established now with Ken Hinkley in his 9th season as coach. Most players drilled to know what Ken demands. Orazio may have missed another one. He has, to the near side again, but from the opposite pocket. So 3-6 plays, 1 behind. Time enough for someone to get a stat from fullback, and that's about it.
1 goal 3 to Arazio in the first quarter.
McPherson drives it long. The Crows did this last week. Kicked long from just about every kick in against Port Adelaide. Quarter time, AAMI Community Series from Noarlunga on Fox Footy. Early entry into their forward line. And the man we've been speaking of, Aaliyah.
Right on cue.
Mark number 4. Oh.
Good fly, but unable to bring it down. And that leaves Amon to run. Outside of the boot to Fantasia on the run. Couldn't trap it and go. Might still get it. Flick to him. He's had 3 shots already and missed them all. Got one.
Geez, wouldn't the recruiting department just be sitting back with the feet up on the table? How good are we? We've got Fantasia and Aaliyah. Looks good in the first 40 minutes.
I love the follow-up, though. I mean, it was an interesting kick. That's the big fly we saw there from Mitchell Hinch. The kick off the outside of the foot, just out in front from Carl Amon. And then he actually misses the ball, but look at the support coming behind. A brilliant pick-up and give in the one motion.
Frampton. It's a pretty good spot with that kick. Tex! Big Tex Walker gives the crowd something to applaud.
Well, they needed it, don't they? If they're going to play tall up forward, you've got Frampton, you've got Walker, you get Fogarty comes into the mix as well. They've got to be giving good contests in the air, but then also making sure they're involved when the ball hits the deck. And up until this point in time, Port Adelaide have just mopped up everything. They've either marked it, or got the ground ball and just run it away with ease.
30 years of age, Taylor Walker, 203 games, 441 goals. And he gives the Crows their first of the afternoon. Robbie Gray gives it some consideration as to whether to play on quickly, and rewards Motlop by giving it back to him.
It's all a little bit too easy down that side of the ground, wasn't it? Just chipping to players on their own, and Motlop continued to run into space.
Got a lot of good runners, Port, don't they?
Yep.
You look at down the line there. Amon into Motlop. You know, Butters and Rosies and these types.
There's not many weaknesses in this Port Adelaide side.
Burn Jones, good speed.
Stevie Motlop from the pocket. Wow.
That might be the biggest miss of the season so far. He's missed everything by 30 metres.
Got it to the front. Boak. Robbie Gray makes a contest. Hands it up to Butters. Crowd enjoyed that. He pokes it back. Options are plenty. Through the hands of Amon to Drew. Might still work. Travis Boak. Missed it. With the inside kick. And nicely hit. So Rosie started this quarter on the bench. He's come on now. And lace out to Fantasia, who's having fun in his new house.
Such a great kick from Rosie, wasn't it? Just spotted him perfectly. And this becomes the difficulty for opposition defences. They're not predictable. They're not going to go to Charlie Dixon all the time. Or a Robbie Gray. Or now a Fantasia. Or a Butters or a Rose. There's just too many options.
Todd Marshall, he comes back in.
Yep.
Yep. The move is to bring Marshall in for round 1. That's the plan, and that was never in doubt. Horatio Fantasia's kicked 3 goals 3.
That was a beautiful drop punt. Why would you kick around the corner, Jace, with a drop punt like that? He's looked good, his new team. He seems happy. He's back home in South Australia.
This is a perfect example of the foot skills. Some of the players, Port Adelaide, distributing the footy.
And encouraged to play on here, Rosie. He knows the man on the mark can't cut off the inside.
Down the line. Cross Dixon. Got it down. Travis Boak. Robbie Gray. Flick over the top. Unselfish. Farrell. A little too easy sometimes at the moment.
They can move the ball from end to end as good as any team in the competition, Jace.
Yep.
Port Adelaide.
Well, that's the foot skills we're talking about. So many classy players on each line. Made that a little bit harder than it needed to be at the end. Robbie Gray had a decision to make. He knew he had a player running to the square. He had to get back from the man on the mark. But by the time he went with the loopy hand pass, you could see he was getting closed down by Brodie Smith.
Off here, but the siren's going to beat him. In fact, the boundary umpire says the boundary beat him. So half-time. Don't forget later on today on Fox Footy, we've got the Derby, Fremantle and the West Coast to play their last full tilt hit out before the main stuff starts. What did you make of that first half, guys?
Oh, impressive from Port Adelaide. I think we know they're very well prepared to have a good tilt at it again in 2021. And we're looking at two teams in very, very different positions in terms of their evolution, though.
38 points the margin. O'Brien, Lysette in the ruck down to Amon. It's the early clearance of sorts. Scholl weaved his way through them, back to O'Brien. Nice start that to Laird. Pops a 15-metre pass nicely to Rowe, who's coming off a good first half. Jimmy Rowe. And he finds his target, Tex Walker. That'll be a good idea if he finds Tex a few times and sets Tex up. He's well and truly within range.
He's moved well, Tex. You commented earlier, Brownie. He jumped at a couple and he looks fit and healthy. They need him attacking the ball. They need him crashing packs. They need him leading. They need him kicking goals.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got Adelaide's only goal so far. Taylor Walker. Straightening up. He's got it there. 2 goals to Tex, 2 goals to Adelaide. Number 1 possession getter on the field, Andrew McPherson. It's another one off. Again, that inside kick, and Butters made it his own. Gives the crowd a highlight to cheer. Bonner. An injury. We'll find out from Mark Rashudo shortly how bad it is. Aliir in the meantime. Rosie, what have you got for us, Roo?
They definitely have had a look at Jordan Butts, and they're strapping him back up. So I did ask the physio, is it the inside of the ankle or the outside? It's the outside, which is a much better result than the inside of the ankle, which takes a lot longer to recover. So the fact they're strapping him up and pushing him back out, there's a very good sign for Jordan.
Good news. The Shudo downstairs for us. Speaking of Crows greats, Rosie in the meantime heads long, and he's got it there. Port's first of the half.
Yeah, well, they'll be hoping. It certainly looks like he's moving well at the moment. The talk that he's got plantar fasciitis. Been to see a surgeon in Sydney. I actually saw him at Sydney Airport last week. So they'll be hoping they can avoid surgery with Rosie. He certainly looks like he's moving well at the moment.
A friend outside in Jones. Good attack from Jones. Left to behind. Schomburg, another possession. Feeds it out. Jones and Jones. Lockie Jones. Chase Jones. Darcy Byrne Jones are trying to keep up with the Joneses.
It's a good tackle. Terrific technique. Wrapped the arms, wrapped the ball, took the body down. Perfect.
Yeah, he's a ripper, Lockie. He's a quiet one, but he comes in and he's no fuss. He's ready-made for AFL footy, and we've seen that over the pre-season and also last week. And yeah, he's not afraid to crush a pack and take the game on as well. So we're pleased to have him in the side.
Port Adelaide with Georgiadis. Travis Boat talking about Lockie Jones, who's from Butte, South Australian country boy.
And I've worked out who his hairstyle looks like, Dwayne.
Who is it?
I'll tell you after the goal.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
And played in the premiership, SANFL premiership, Dwayne.
He's played in 2 premierships in the last 2 years, Brownie. He played in an under-18 flag with Woodville Torrens and then played in the Sandford premiership. So he's coming off a whole year of football against men.
Yeah.
In a premiership year against men as Georgiadis kicks the goal. And that's a huge advantage given that he's only 18, but he's used to the bigger bodies.
Huge advantage, absolutely. So ready-made football there to come in, and obviously it'd be tough to break into the 22 for round 1, but coaching staff will have great confidence in him if they do, if some spots open up. Who's the mullet look like, Jason?
So again, straight down the middle is an option from the kick in because of the extra room. He didn't really load up, and the mark taken by Luke Brown. And he drives us straight back to the teeth of goal. And that does bounce through. Scholl at the pointy end gets a chance at goal. Again in defence, who Johnny Ralph told us looks like getting that last list spot. Scholl had it, dropped it, then he was tackled after fumbling it, and Dersma said, I didn't think he'd fumble.
That's a very, very lucky free kick. He got away with one there, lucky Scholl.
Good protection for Butters. Well, he ever needs it to jump. Huge heart. Houston, Munger's one inside 50 and it might work. Farrell feeds it out, winds, blasts it towards goal. And Ollie gets one.
Geez, they look for the corridor option straight away, don't they, Jay? Saw Zach Butters, he took that mark straight away. His head whipped inside. He spotted up, I think it was Dan Houston in the centre of the ground. Looked like they're really well drilled for that corridor play this season.
Well, the good sides will use the corridor more because it's harder to block up. The man on the mark can't cut that off. You've got that protected zone to the side as well, so you're going to have options. If you're a good kicking team, you can tear the corridor apart. Life doesn't get much better.
Swans won't be giggling. Oh, huge leap. Jeez. Wow, he got up Georgiades.
Play the block, yeah. He went a little early, I think.
He does do that. He's a jumping jack.
I reckon he's knocked the stuffing out of himself. Never remotely near where the ball was going, Dwayne.
Let's not discourage him, Jason. Superstar trap, back to Farrell. He's got Jones as the outlet. He ignored him. Takes off himself, heads goal square, 2-on-2. Georgiades down there, got this one.
That's a better jump. He timed it perfectly. Judged it better than the others. There were a couple of other tools in the area.
I thought he was lining up, though, to sit on someone's head. He was the box seat.
They're having a laugh. Yeah. But that's another one added to the mix. Do you play Georgiades as well?
Too many tools. They don't fit into the into
That's
the puzzle.
going to be the problem. He's got plenty of talent. He's courageous.
But they're the problems that the good teams want.
Yeah,
Too many players to pick from.
Yeah, they've got good tips. They're one of the few teams that probably pick from a list of 28 or 30.
7 games last year for Georgiades. They're pick 18 in the 2019 draft, and he's a star. But can he get in round 1?
Yeah, probably going to be difficult at the moment. If Marshall does come back in, and then the question mark will whether they play Laddams as a second ruckman. We know Charlie Dixon, of course, plays there. They've got to fit in all the small forwards. You know, now Fantasia's come in there. Whether Motlop gets a game, that man Farrell, we know Butters is going to play. Whether Rosie comes up with his plantar fasciitis has been reported. Certainly looks good today.
Robbie Gray spending most time forward, so there's not many spots there.
Yeah.
Who's ahead in the pecking order if it's purely Marshall against Georgiades?
I think Marshall.
Bonner. Butters will play out of the centre square. The majority, you would think, of centre bounces. The top of the square, Georgiades got a finger on it. Laddams lets it fly, and he may have squeezed it in. The Laddams and Georgiades show.
Yeah, it is. I'll see you and I'll raise you. Yeah. Certainly Laddams will be wanting to impress this second half as a forward. Work his way into that round 1 spot. What do you think, Dwayne? Do they go with Laddams and Lysette as the ruckman?
I think so. I'm not sure they want to ruck Charlie Dixon, but at the same time, it depends on Marshall's cheek. I think he does come back in. I think he would be Ken Hinckley's preferred option. I think the two of you guys were right. O'Brien knocked it down.
Oh, that's a free kick.
Umpire said, keep rolling, boys. Rosie, they all stand off him. Ringer, Rosie. Went for goal, may have got the bounce. He did. The goal of the pre-season.
He's a bit sheepish taking that way.
That's the luckiest bounce I've ever seen.
Yep. He's almost embarrassed because he shanked the kick. He kicked it in the middle of the ball, trying to go around the corner. He bellied the ball, and it went a mile up in the air. It floated. The two players deep couldn't touch it because it floated all over their heads. And then sideways and then through.
Never in doubt.
Drew. Into the pocket the lead comes, and Laddams held that long enough. So Dixon might be done for the afternoon. That's allowed Laddams and Georgiades to get more of the ball, which is part of the grand plan, no doubt. And now Ollie Wines can finish it all off.
And we saw Jordan Butts hot on the heels of Peter Laddams when he took that mark. So he went off earlier with the twisted ankle. Good to see him back out there in the action. Seems to be moving pretty well.
Position number 19 coming up for Ollie Wines.
Oh!
Massive leap, Georgiadis.
He can jump, can't he?
Wow.
He might take a couple of marks
Yeah,
for the year.
I think so. Yeah.
Wines gave him some space to move on the mark. Big pack. Walker, there's a hold. And it's Adelaide's ball. McAdam likes to jump as well. Yep, there's the hold.
Ryan Burton just a little outsized, out-muscled by Taylor Walker.
So Scholes kicked one goal for Adelaide and Taylor Walker's kicked the other two. Looks good. It's a spear. Delightful. Texas got 3.
Yeah, he's a beautiful set shot at goal.
Against the Crows at Alberton last week by 52. Here they go moving it. Lockie Jones. Long down the line. Early leap. Massive mark. That's what we want to see from Connor Rozee. That was a monster for the crowd. And now Adams.
That is a serious hanger.
Did we say Rose's got a crook foot?
Yep.
Certainly doesn't look like at the moment. Laddams is putting his best foot forward. It's a bit of a jump off between Laddams and Georgiadis in the second half.
Look at this. In between two players, over the top of one, in front of the other. And then you got the tall forward in Laddams.
And he finishes a beautiful passage of play for Port Adelaide. Downstairs, Mark Rasciuto.
Oh, they're on fire, the power at the moment, Rosie, and the smalls are just so hard to stop when you've got the ball. But we're talking about the forward line structure. Charlie Dixon, they're not going to make him do too much ruck work. Laddams is definitely going to play. It's really going to come down to Georgiadis or Marshall, and that's going to go down to what the coach wants. But Laddams is a lock, Dixon's a lock, and then one of the other two.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. And look, I'm even thinking at different stages, you don't need that third tall, as in a Marshall or a Georgiadis.
Willem Drew, as we talked about, didn't play any footy last year. Looked good. Lockie Jones, he just looks ready-made. Got a man's body. The country boy from Butte. Roby Gray over the back, shows his class, strolls in, and like shelling peas for the superstar.
He's got a penetrating kick.
Oh, hasn't he?
Yeah, Jones, absolutely. He's got a mature-looking body for an 18-year-old, but powerful right boot on him. You mentioned, again, Willem Drew. There he is. 19th disposal today, so he's had a good game. Trying to work his way back into this lineup.
He's 18 years of age, Lockie Jones.
Yeah, jeez. He looks like he's about 25.
Let's talk about, Jamari Ugle-Hagan went #1 in the ruck, but not quite ready to play AFL football yet. Gets away from Bergman, and Walker will have another crack. Oh, he took the step, took off, played on, and still got it to the target in McAdam, who plays on quickly and goals. Gets himself a late consolation prize.
He's got to go back and do it again.
No, maybe not.
Didn't start from the right position. And we all know he's going to run out and do that again.
2 metres, please. Another metre, 1 more metre. Mark's here. Climb back on. No, you've got to be on the spot. Thank you.
13 games, 12 goals, 12 in his first season as a mature age pickup, and slots that easily.
You guys got me now. Can you hear me?
Power chant rings around the ground as Robbie Gray feeds it to Mead, who might get a goal. That'll bring the house down. The father-son.
Yeah, plays a bit differently, the old man. It was a big brute centre-half back. I don't think the old man would have had many goals to his CV like that one, Dwayne. But Of course, the old man was a great player for Port Adelaide.
Nice tap over the back from Laddams to Gray. They had the good understanding. That's a quality finish. Tough screwing it around from that angle.
It's nice when those set plays come off in the forward 50, the stoppage. Robbie Gray's certainly looked good today. 25 disposals. Kicked the 2 goals.
Still a handy amount of scoring shots. 15 goals, 14 for Port after they had 18-17 on the board against Adelaide last week. Aliir.
9th intercept mark.
Back to half forward. Almost an Ollie Wines one-hander.
Was it for the Brisbane Lions, or was it the Renegades or the Hurricanes?
Yeah, one of those, I think. One of those.
Didn't last long, did it? Not sure you'd be putting it on your CV, Brownie.
No. Well, I played in the last ever NAB Cup premiership, Jace.
Okay.
So wore that very proudly. Not a lot of success late in the career.
Used to have a bit of prestige in the old days.
Absolutely.
Cheerio to you, Derm, 5-time. Ollie Wines loads up and slams it home. Bit of cream on top of the cake.
Yeah, we celebrated like we won the premiership and got beaten by about 15 goals in round 1 2 weeks later. Brought back to earth. There we go, Aliir. Just finishing off a really good day. They're impressive. You know, you look ahead and you think, you know, you do premiership predictions and all these types of things. They're on the front line of betting, or the top line of betting, Jace. And to think they only got beaten by a goal by the eventual premiers last year, but they've improved over the off-season.
Yeah, and time for him to own a spot and start producing more.
Seedsman, inside the last 2 minutes, takes off. Can kick a long ball, gets into the square. Fist from Aliir, and from the goal line, he's missed that row. Jimmy Rowe from the front row.
He read it perfectly. He did everything right. Oh, how do you miss from there?
Well, they'll go into the season having won 3 of their last 4 AFL games, the Adelaide Crows.
Yeah, of course.
Mead. Nice delivery.
Let's see if you can forget the 2 hidings at the hands of Port Adelaide.
That's right.
As the lead up to this season.
And this guy is a gun. We talk about Rosie, how good he is, and Dersma, but there's a chance that Zach Butters come the end of their careers. They might all play 300 games each, but
he was waiting for someone to come past Wayne.
He might end up being the best of them. He handed that off unselfishly to Houston.
From the moment he took the mark and got up, he was looking around, and there was no one anywhere near him, and he waited, and he kept looking around. It's quite extraordinary, the amount of time he had waiting for someone to come and take the hand pass.
If they win the premiership this year, they'll look back upon that draft as the super draft, won't they? Rosie, Dersma and Butters, all in the one draft.
Look at him. Look at him. He had a couple of good looks there. He's still looking.
You could argue it's the most important thing that's happened to Port Adelaide in the last decade. They come through. Great kick there by Dan Houston. We know it's a great kick.
You look at a lot of teams in history. It's been their recruiting that did it. Hawthorn, Geelong had a couple of really good drafts back-to-back from Stephen Wells.
Brisbane in the 90s.
Yeah.
They nailed 2 or 3 drafts in a row.
From the scramble in the middle. O'Brien had it, lost it. Keys. O'Brien rakes it back in. Tries to get it out. And it's not coming out in a hurry. Siren sounds. 71 points. The final margin. And the preparation complete for both Port Adelaide and the Adelaide Crows. Port Adelaide heading into their clash with North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium Sunday, March 21, which you'll see on Fox Footy. And the Crows against Geelong, Adelaide Oval, Saturday, March 20, which, like every home and away game, you'll see that on Fox Footy as well. But there was a lot to like about the Port Adelaide 17 goals, 14, 116 that unfolded before us today.
Yeah, dominant performance, 120 more disposals for the game. Yeah, so, you know, obviously the scoring shots, massive discrepancy there. Contested marks 22-7, intercept marks 27-15 with Aliir taking 9 of them, Dwayne.